Hmm.
Morning.
It's actually a person?
I know.
Ah, okay.
What's going on? How are you, David?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Still waking up, but I'm good.
Struggling with some computer issues, but
Oh yeah.
other than that,
Oh, what's going on with the computer?
it's printing weird. It's actually, I cannot, it shows full page
Yeah.
on the computer, but it will only print like that. It won't fill the page. I worked on it yesterday for a couple of hours, trying every logical thing and whatever I could find on Google, and nothing worked.
Computer things are so funny, you know, like you can spend hours and make no progress.
Pisses me off.
It's like I spent almost all of Monday and Tuesday at work, just like tinkering around with an Excel sheet, trying to get it to do what I wanted. You know, the next thing you do, you like to look at the clock, I'm like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I should go home now. Like, I made no progress. Yeah.
And then somewhere suddenly I lost my Wi-Fi connection to my printers.
Oh, perfect.
And I have a direct connection to the one upstairs, but sometimes I like to print down here and or in somewhere else in the house, or
Yeah,
you know.
right.
So I think probably all I have to do is, you know, take the printers out and reinstall them, but
Yeah. It's a pain though.
yeah, and time.
Yeah.
So you need a chair.
Oh, thanks, David.
You're the only one coming.
I figured.
So thank you. Let me see. I think I will regroup then.
Sorry to catch you off guard.
No, no problem. I'm glad to have a real person for once.
Yeah, I figured, you know, COVID numbers are getting better and time to get out of my apartment, you know.
Just when they're going to get worse, though.
Is that what they're saying now?
Oh, the BA2, yeah, absolutely.
I keep my head in the sand. I try not to read or encounter the news at all.
I don't blame you.
With everything going on in the world, right?
China's got the worst surge it's had ever.
Maybe I should pick up a newspaper. Oh, man.
And it's starting to surge in England and Europe. And it will come here next. Oh my goodness. All of a sudden, everybody's here at once.
Everybody's arrived.
Yeah.
Morning, David.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Nope, it's okay. You're actually right on time, apparently. Hi, Joanne.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
Sorry, I almost lost track of time.
Ah,
Hey, guys.
You know, you think you have a little extra time and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, it's 9 o'clock.
that's how it goes.
It does.
Mr. Nagel, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're a little better.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Great. Good.
Some days a little is really good.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. I try to be measured about it, but yeah, it's certainly better than not good. So.
Yeah.
Or we can look at the 70% rule, David.
That's right.
70%.
Yeah. Okay. Everything good in Virginia?
We can't hear it. We can't hear you.
Are you muted, Bill?
Yeah.
Look like it, but we can't hear him. Yep.
Nope.
I just noticed that.
Does this work?
There you
Yeah,
are.
there you are.
Okay, I had the wrong microphone on. But yeah, things are great here. The spring is popping up. We've started seeing skunk cabbage coming up and daffodils coming. So we're, I think maybe a week or two, maybe 2 weeks ahead of Connecticut. So
Oh, yeah.
We have crocuses. We had one daffodil pop up in the sunniest corner, but yeah, otherwise they're all pretty closed.
yeah, our crocuses are already fading.
Oh. It was below freezing this morning, so.
I just looked out the window. I've got a daffodil out there. so-
Ah,
Right.
There you go. A positive note for the day.
Positive note, right.
Good. Okay. So, questions? Reports? What's good, what's bad?
I think the notes are really helpful, particularly that last page of kind of, pulling it all together. I would say my biggest challenge right now is just that when I rise back up, I get, my body gets to the top before my arms do. So that's kind of a bit of a, I feel like I'm beginning to get a real sense of the other aspects of it, but that's still, whoops, like whoops.
Well, at least you're aware of it, which lets you
Right.
work on it. That's good. How about you, Mr. Nagel? We haven't seen you.
Yeah. It's my main difficulty is being overprotective and overthinking what's going to happen if I bend too far. So it's a matter of just staying free. And when I am free, things have been working.
Well, that's important for you right now, really, to be very aware of what your limits are and not to,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
not to exceed. At this point, maybe 40 or 50% is great.
Yeah, well, there have been more days than I'd like where I haven't been able to do anything, but the ones where I've done what I could, and yeah.
Yep.
So it's almost a natural extension of walking, etc.
Right.
Which is I can do, I can go out for the mail. Okay.
All right. Good. Any problems in Virginia?
I'm sure there are problems in Virginia. I try to keep my eyes low on the horizon, and there's less problems. but yeah, in terms of Tai Chi, I'd like to see the transition from 3 to 4 again, and working on the elbows last week was really, really good. And I think has been incorporated into my practice. And it was good to do that in front of a mirror too, as even when I think things are rotating and lowering and pointing towards the ground, sometimes they're flailing about a bit. So.
Yeah. Good. Adam?
No real issues, I think, just, I find keeping the elbows pointing toward the ground challenging in parts of 4, but still working on it.
Yeah,
I think the 70% is easy to overdo in 4, especially with how far your arms come up.
Mm, Yeah.
I tend to bring them up to parallel when maybe times I shouldn't. So,
well, we'll see. We're gonna
yeah.
do some more elbow, shoulder, and 4 work today.
David, I've been focusing more on the, I mean, I understand about the elbows, but I've been focusing more on the shoulders,
Mhm.
and the elbows seem to come along. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're gonna work on that today.
Okay, okay,
Yep, no, that does make sense.
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what Adam said about the 70%, especially when we're up at the top, I feel like I'm, more like 90 or 100% in
Yes,
terms of my
yes.
spine being up,
Mhm.
and if you could talk about that somewhere through. It's easier to do 70% of down than up seems like up, there's only one up, more or
Right.
less.
Well, in a
Yeah,
way,
I resonate with that, yeah.
in a way, Bill, there is, because we have that base level that hopefully we have established when we step out and start this practice, whatever postures we're working on. And that really is the top. It's not 100%, but it may be, if we were to look at it in terms of the full range up, it's probably more than 70%. And that's okay as long as you don't push yourself to full erectness.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
We knew what you meant anyway.
Yeah, we'll try to avoid being erectoid.
So,
David, one of the things that has helped me a bit on that is doing heaven and earth. That puts me in touch of, where I am right away.
Wow. Interesting you said that. I was looking at that and doing that some this week too.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed that one. Yeah. So.
yeah, that's a really good one. It's a really good bridge. One of the really important bridges into God's. Absolutely.
Yep.
Good. Well, as usual, I'm going to talk a bit to start us off. And I think I'm going to, since we have Adam here, I'm going to go sit back away from you.
Okay. Hi, Adam.
Hey,
Yeah. Saw you over there for a second,
Yeah.
but I lost you.
Yeah, Adam is here, even if you don't see him. So in terms of God's, I want to talk a little bit about dissolving. You can't in motion, while dynamically moving or dynamically engaging, do as much as you would do when you're stationary, if you're standing or sitting. Because when you're standing or sitting, you can put 100% of your attention just on dissolving. You can't do that when you're moving, because you've got other things that you have to pay attention to. But what you can be is total. You can be doing everything you can But the degree that that total can be will be to some extent lessened by how many other things you are doing. All of this ultimately boils down to a very, very simple thing. How limited is your mind? Now, God is a form of Shen Gong, which is a bridge between meditation and Qigong. And one of the things at the end of the day is this simple awareness that your mind may or may not have any limitations. This whole subject of spirituality and enlightenment is a statement about reaching a point where you are beyond limitations, beyond all limitations. But those are cheap words. At which point Bruce said, I'm not beyond all limitations. If I was, I could teleport myself to another part of this room instantly, or have me be here and another body over there. But I can't because there is a limitation. I have a body. But in terms of the mind, the much easier way to think about this is that the more your mind contracts, not connect, contracts, the greater the degree limitations come into place. And the more your mind opens up, all of a sudden, what seemed to be impossible to do now becomes, yes, so what, no big deal. Now, the Chinese have two words that they constantly use, particularly in Taoism, where they have been especially important. And one term is Wu So Wei, and it means that's not really important, whatever. The universe blows up, the universe comes together, so what? Never mind, whatever. And then there is Yo So Wei. It matters. It matters to you if your leg is chopped off. In terms of the whole universe, your leg being chopped off is Wu So Wei. But in terms of you, one individual losing your leg is a big deal. So the whole thing is that the mind has this terrible habit of making things be Yo So Wei when there is no need for it. When that becomes just a constant habit every single time it occurs, the mind contracts. The mind contracts, your energy contracts, and then your energy contracts your ability to do other things at once. Your ability to do 10 things all at once smaller. When the mind opens up, your ability to do 10 things at once becomes easier. And depending upon how someone does it, no can contract your mind, or it must be yes can contract your mind. So you can have your mind become contracted doing almost anything. Now, if you start going down to Neigong, and let's say you just put everything on a blackboard that we've talked about from the beginning of this practice, you would have at least 20 or 30 things on the board. And it's being proposed that you do all of them at once. It's never been said what proportion you could do any of them. It is just that you can do all of them at once, and that is good. When your heart beats, your liver doesn't stop. When your right arm moves, your left arm doesn't go dead. When your intestines digest, your kidneys don't stop. In the body, we have literally millions of things that are all happening at once and right at the same moment. But when we do something consciously, the biggest single barrier is how much your mind can relax and open up and how things and allow things to fill that space, or your mind closes down. Now, God's is based upon Taoist meditation. That's where it came from. It is a physical expression of what needs to be done in meditation, to get it done with the body, so that your body doesn't cause you a problem when you're in this limited environment, which is called the earth. The earth has got its limitations. It's got geographical boundaries, it's got diseases. It makes it necessary that you have food and water for a fairly regular basis, or you eventually will die. It has all sorts of limitations, but the ability to have your mind go to where it will do what it can at a practical level, that's a state without limitations. Most people do not do what they can. They do a much smaller amount based upon how contracted their mind is. So to do this requires a certain amount of relaxation. All of Taoist meditation and God's playing in the clouds, it's done, if it's done properly, you just learn how to make your mind still. And then you learn how to make your mind completely empty. Emptiness, as in the statement, that's what the Buddha did, which the Taoists were doing before they even had the words in Buddhism, well before the Buddha was around, because the term emptiness was not a part of that spiritual tradition that the Buddha learned before he woke up. But here's the thing, emptiness, nothing. Well, it isn't, because if someone arrives truly at emptiness, it has a secondary quality to it. The Chinese have a great way of putting it, which sums it up. Something that has nothing has the potential to be everything. Something has the potential to be everything. Something that is everything actually is nothing in particular. So those two things are flowing. But the question is, as soon as your mind goes contracting, you now limit. You now limit how many of these things that the mind is capable of doing. You now limit how easy or difficult it is to make all these things happen at once, that you are doing in God's plane in the clouds. So the Taoists talk about stillness. Stillness has a degree, and stillness is the road to emptiness. Having stillness does not mean that you have arrived at emptiness, but it is one of the necessary building blocks to it. And what is it? It is just that your mind rests and it allows everything that can come into it to come into it without going toward any of it. Because as soon as anyone goes toward anything to some degree, they can't rest. You're doing something. So this is what that old phrase of doing without doing starts coming in. You don't go toward it, but yet there is nothing in you that is not aware of it and doing something with it. And this can seem like a paradox, but it is not. It is only a paradox to a person who only understands what it is for the mind to be contracted. If all you know is your mind being contracted, that's a paradox. And you can't put those things together. Once your mind relaxes enough, well, then it's easy, effortless. It's not a big deal, and it's not a problem. So what you have to do when you're doing gods for the first few seconds is stand, and you don't have to go through dissolving everything. But if you want to stand there for a few minutes and just get all your alignments online, that's probably a pretty good thing to do. But even before you get your alignments online, can you just let your mind go? Can you have no agenda? Can you have no sense of I am going to do or not going to do anything? It's all good, whatever. And let your mind just open up, rest, and settle. But you can't just let your mind go to where you start. It's all good. Or it doesn't matter if it is not, so what? And if you do that, all of a sudden, rather than your mind being contracted and only being able to notice one or two things, all of a sudden, all the other stuff starts becoming possible. And then whatever you have, you will go to that. Go to what you're trying to do without resistance. But not to the degree that you just start shutting your mind down, because then the possible becomes impossible. It becomes maybe, maybe not. Who cares? So understand something. When the mind contracts, you now are creating internal resistance inside you. This is the basis of resistance. In electronics, they call something that inhibits resistors. They are what in electrical systems stop power from moving through. Today, in this one sense, with overpopulation and over oligarchies and mega control, the whole world is exposed to media control. And we're being trained to be scared, to be in a fearful anxiety state. We're being trained to create the fear response. And from a positive statement, and there is, of course, a negative one too, government and big corporations are concerned about our massive explosion of population and the possibility of chaos. And chaos does happen in incredibly crowded times. But fear is an old, reliable tool of social control. But understand something, all of this is only including one thing, contracted minds. When you do Qigong, in order for you to put all these different Neigong elements together, the biggest single thing that has to happen is your mind has to open. Your energy has to open to the point that it can just get to be more and more. And then you can directly, without much effort, do what you're trying to do. But as your energy closes down, it takes more and more effort to get it to do smaller and smaller things. This is just the basic rules on the road, and we live with them whether we like it or not. And Taoism has always recognized this. It was the way thousands of years ago, and human condition hasn't changed that much. It's only changed in that toys, in the toys that it has to play with, to manipulate the external environment, and not the environment within people. So a thought. So this next part, just give me a moment here. I'm going to take my, I'm not going to take all my clothes off, but I will take my sweater off. So a big thing that you're going to have to get in movement 4 is going to also be a big thing in your life. And it is that your arms are going to be rotating. And the easy rotation that people naturally go to is just an elbow turning. And just to be clear about that, yeah, you could have the elbow rotate, it can turn, but that's just the elbow. Your shoulder girdle, this whole area, is another very complex area. But you want to have the rotation of your elbow to actually occur right in the center of your shoulder joint, which will affect a lot of things. So the first step to consider one thing, your elbow is a direct lever to your neck and your head. And the thing you're absolutely trying to do with this movement is to get all the moving parts that lever and jam into each other to be liquid, oiled, as opposed to dry. Now, part of this is that most people will think that they are going to have trouble with moving their elbows because of their elbows. But the problem is inside your shoulder. And what inside your shoulder is ultimately going to boil down to, and why you should care about it, is that it is, in addition to the fact that it's going to make your body not hurt so much, is that it can directly block your left and right channels. Because your left and right channels have to move through the center of your armpit, which is more or less located in the middle of your shoulder joint. In order to open up that flow through your left and right channels, it's necessary that the elbows don't get stuck. And so let's look at this exercise that I'm going to have you do. It's a basic movement that encourages the energy flow of movement 4. And you guys are aware of basically that. What we want to look for are what Bruce calls the stinker points. One of them starts right at the top, right when you're up, starting to come down. You go down at the bottom of your arms, turn. They turn out in order for your arms to go that way, and your shoulders have to not freeze. Neither the outside of your shoulder nor the inside of your shoulder can freeze. So we're going to have a very simple exercise that's done everywhere in Qigong, and it's an old Tai Chi exercise. It's going to be about getting you to recognize the relationship between your shoulder and your elbow. And some of you will have done this in Dragon and Tiger. But this is really looking at how you make the elbow rotate from the inside of your shoulder. So you don't want to just try to rotate your elbow. This is not doing very much with the shoulder at all. There's no lever into that area. But you have to relax the shoulder joint. And I'm showing this, putting my finger against this pole, but you can do it against the wall, which is a good way to do it. And your elbow actually goes out, up, over, and down. But that's not done with the elbow. It comes from the middle of your shoulder joint. And you have to relax the shoulder and allow it to move fluidly. And it's not, you're not doing it by picking up the shoulder. You're simply rotating from the center of that joint. And you could do this in midair. You don't necessarily have to do it against the wall, but doing it against the wall is a good way to start doing that. Notice that it only goes in one direction. So you're going to go out, up, over, back down in, and then back out again. And the point where we tend to get stuck is on that inner rotation here. And you really have to release the shoulder, feel your shoulder's nest sink in there in order to get that rotation. So play with this for a minute. Anybody have a question as you go into it? Just do one at a time so you can really focus on that shoulder. Bill Nagel,
Yep.
I would suggest you move your arm out in front of you that rather than to the side.
Okay.
You can do it to the side, but it is more difficult. So it's better to start forward because that's an easier place to really feel that rotation. So don't focus on the hand or the elbow, focus on the shoulder. So you're turning I can see you turning the hand.
This is me.
Yes, that's you. So forget the hand. It will turn, but the turn has to come because of the shoulder rotating. And in order to really get that circle of the elbow, because it literally goes out, up, over, down, in, and back up. But the elbow and the hand move because of the shoulder moving. Bill Bynum, for you too, hold your arm forward, not out to the side. Out to the side is a little more difficult. It's just easier to start with it forward. And bend your elbow a little more. Yeah, give yourself a little freedom. Good. Yeah, so this is an exercise to work on because you will, and yes, do both arms, because you've got to get that real fluidity, and we'll look at how that affects movements in the form or in our gods, but Joanne, it's a little hard for me to see, but it has the feeling that you're not really relaxing the shoulder.
Say what you said about the shoulder's nest again, David.
It actually, as you're doing this, you should feel it softening and sinking, going in. There will be some muscular movement in there, but the nest itself should be soft and sinking. So Joanne, the obvious difficult part there is coming over the top, coming in. See, we want to do it with our hand or with our elbow, but what we really need to do is do it with the shoulder. So I don't know if you can see it better here. I'm just trying to help you see it. So we're not doing it. The hand isn't doing it. The hand isn't driving it, and the elbow doesn't drive it because it can't make a full movement. It does make a little circle, but when you go to the shoulder, now all of a sudden that can release and allow the whole arm to make the circle. So what was happening for you was very typical. You get to here and you're not releasing the shoulder so that it can circle on in without getting hung up. Okay. So it goes out, up, in, down. So you get a whole circle of the arm and the shoulder. It's a little better, but that's,
When it really says in, I guess. In where? Because it feels like almost, I come up. Yeah. And then it's this drops in. It almost feels like the shoulder's going out to get this to come in.
No, my shoulder is going in. Out. My shoulder is doing the same thing, the elbow and the hand.
Okay. Tough one.
It is a little hard, yeah. This is one you have to work on.
Oops. When you said at the beginning, when I started at the beginning, I was doing it to the side. I actually felt I could relax my shoulder more to the side. I think the challenge, I can feel the challenge of relaxing my shoulder, but I do feel like I'm moving from the shoulder's nest,
Okay,
not the arm of the, I mean, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm very aware of that
yeah.
and not
Uh,
moving my wrist or my elbows.
I really do suggest that you, at least in the beginning for a while, work on this with like your middle finger fixed in a position on the wall
Okay, yep.
or wherever,
Can do that.
because
Yep,
that helps you let go of driving it with the hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you. Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Anybody else have a question here? This is what is really important exercise to get, because this really will improve your ability to rotate and twist and eventually spiral.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you have another question, Adam?
No, I'm just trying to get it right.
Practice.
When Bruce was teaching this, he told us about the fact that when back in, I think it was between 2000 and 2007, he had a series of 7 automobile accidents. One of the reasons he doesn't drive a lot anymore. And in those, in 6 of them, he separated his shoulder. And he said that usually that means that you're left with a shoulder that doesn't function very well.
Mm,
And if you look at him, you watch him move, even now, his shoulders move perfectly well, including the one that was separated 6 times. And one of the exercises that he focused on was this one that helped him recover from that. So he thought that might be inspiring for us. I don't know whether it's inspiring or not, but it's kind of
very.
so. go to movement 4, if you can see me here, one of the things is that there is a continuous rotation of the shoulders through this entire motion. They never stop. And yet, as we were talking last week, the elbows are always facing or connecting down. Even here, your intention for them is down, but then they immediately drop down and they stay going down, even though you are rotating all the way from the shoulder through the arm. So try that. And see if you can connect that sense of the rotating shoulders, allowing you to have some rotation and ultimately twisting all the way through movement 4.
Mhm.
So Joanne, think about not letting your hands come into the center as they come down. They have to bring the energy down the left and right channels. Yep, that's better. So Bill Nagel, as you go down and go out to the sides, as soon as the arms start to go up, that shoulder rotates and the elbows start to drop. It's instantly, immediately, not halfway up.
Okay.
Yeah, better.
David, I need to go to my 10 o'clock. Get ready. It's almost
Okay,
there. Glad to be here. I'll check the last few minutes.
okay,
Tape.
good to see
Thank you.
you.
Glad I could come. Bye-bye.
Yep. Think about your shoulder driving this whole movement. Bill Bynum. If you look at me for a moment, couple of things. When you go out to the sides, you're trying to feel that the etheric body, the extent of your etheric body out here. And then immediately you're starting to rotate. And this is a sphere coming up. You're kind of coming partway up and then sort of into the center. You don't have to go high. I'm not saying that you have to go higher than you're going, but don't cut off the top part of your sphere. So when you've reached the etheric body, you're just rounding. So even if it's low, you're coming to here. And then these are rotating, these are twists, rotating in all the way down and then beginning to go out. So there is a continuous rotation in down the left and right channels, out to the etheric body and pulling the energy back up. Drop. Boom. Twisted, twisted. You don't have to be close to the body. Twisted, twisted. Twist out.
It helps to see you from the side, David.
Does it? Good. Twisting in as we go down, twisting out. Up. Yeah. Okay, so relax. Joanne had to leave us for her meeting. So, anybody have a question at this point?
I agree. It was good to see you from the side.
Good.
See the
I'm glad I'm recording. And I will try to get it to you.
yeah.
Well, I won't go into all the details, but I'm dealing with some computer issues and I've got to take my computer in and we're leaving for California tomorrow. So I'm trying to fit everything in here.
Oh my.
I did send when the next starting date is for every class. So you might look for that if you haven't spotted it. I think this actually meets next in 2 weeks from this day, because
Yeah, the 6th. Yeah.
next week we'll be on our way back. And I won't be available.
Okay.
So any last minute questions on this? Okay, we've got a lot more to work on with all of this stuff, so we'll get to it next time.
Okay.
Very,
Have a
very good.
trip. Have a good trip, David.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah,
hope
have
to
a
see
wonderful
lot of-
trip.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
Yeah, exactly where in California are you going?
Oh, San Francisco,
Oh,
Okay.
wonderful.
that's where Zach is, and then the other boys
Yeah.
are coming there.
Good, good. Have you visited there in the past?
Many years ago.
Yeah.
I
okay.
haven't been out to see the boys. Jane went 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. But we haven't been out, of course, since then.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a wonderful place. I was lucky enough to have a consulting job in San Francisco. I got to go there every week for 6 months. It was
Oh,
very cool.
yeah. I
But,
enjoyed it when I was there before.
Yeah, well, but don't forget your sweater.
Okay. Thank you. I'll remember that.
Yeah. And if you get a chance, he probably knows, but if you get to the Chinatown area,
Yeah.
and in particular, I stayed at a Holiday Inn that was overlooking Chinatown,
Uh-huh.
and there's a huge plaza around it, and every morning, like before dawn almost, there were people out there doing Tai Chi.
Yep.
Great. I particularly enjoyed the museum there, has incredible Oriental collection. So, well, stay well. Hope you continue to improve, Bill.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll see you in a
Indeed.
couple of
Okay.
weeks.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Good continued recovery, Bill. Take care.
Yep, Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Yep. Bye, Adam.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
It's weird, this partially on Zoom and
Yeah.
partially not. Okay. So, I prepared about twice as much as I needed today. I thought we might get.
Well, you're good for the next one then, right?
Absolutely. So the shoulder rotation, obviously, as we go into the form,
Right.
is big.
Yeah.
So in that, even in the first few postures, if we think about all of this movement coming from the rotation of the shoulder, rather than moving,
Just twisting your,
yeah,
yeah.
moving the hands and elbows out, it really releases and fills that movement.
Mm. Okay.
Particularly, it also, that's what makes Liu work at this movement. And that second one was better.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely stiff. I guess.
Yeah,
I would describe
that's-
it. It feels like, kind of like the hands of a clock
Mhm.
rotating, not like a smooth
Yeah,
thing.
and that's what that does. It smooths all that movement. Just you gotta release into the shoulder.
Try it.
Easy for me to say,
Yeah.
but when you get it, you'll feel it. Um, Watching you do that, I caught something else that I
Sure.
hadn't noticed before. So what you're doing is this. Do you see me go back?
Yeah,
Don't go back.
okay,
This is, that's all going forward.
okay.
Forward, 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 forward. Again, it's out of the shoulders, out of the scapula. We can get to the scapula yet. but
Right. I feel my body wanting to go back there, you know?
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that before. There we go.
There's a tough one, huh?
Open.
Feel like everything wants to constrict sometimes.
Yeah.
Definitely tougher to perform. You know, I don't know if it's just because there's so much more going on, or also because it's not like a repeated pattern.
Yeah,
Um,
that's certainly part of it. And because it's, yeah, it's a constantly changing.
mm,
It's not a repeated pattern. So that's a good thing to work on, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even doing it poorly seems to really fill the arms with energy.
Yeah.
And that's doing it pretty poorly.
Well,
You know,
I don't know, I'd say poorly, but you still got a ways to go with it. Yeah,
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 cool.
good.
Okay. I don't think I had any questions from the forum. I didn't practice too much. When I did do it, I tried to focus on keeping those points on the feet open that we
Yep.
talked about last time. That seems to really help.
Yeah,
Just kind of whole body awareness.
good.
Cool. Thanks, David.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good trip.
Hope we will. I think we will.
I'm sure you will.
The kids are excited,
Yeah.
so,
It's a long way to go.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. How long is the flight?
Let's see, going out is nuts. Let's see, it's I guess it's 8 hours. It's nonstop,
Wow. Okay.
or is it 6? Oh, it's 6.
6 hours?
That's what it is. 6. Coming back is gonna be. We have to change planes twice.
Oh,
Schedules are not being very good. There, things are changing because of the cost of gas and
right.
oil and so
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
it is what it is.
yeah, it's part of traveling, right?
Yep,
All right, well, see you in a couple of weeks, David.
good. Hope things are reasonable in your world.
Reasonable. Yeah, no, they're good. They're good. It's
Good.
fine, yeah.
Good. How's school?
It's okay. Turned in my first paper, so we'll see how that goes. First paper in about a decade. That was a little rusty last weekend.
How do I do this?
Yeah, I definitely missed the 70% mark on that one. I sat down Saturday morning with a cup of coffee thinking, well, I'll start on this. And like the next thing I know, I came out of my basement, I was like, oh, I guess it's like 7 o'clock at night. Huh, might have overdone that one. But
Well,
it's all good.
good.
Blow the cobwebs off of that.
Yeah,
So that's going,
good.
works good. You know, I got a new roommate coming in for April. So
Oh, good.
yeah, found somewhere to replace the guy leaving,
Oh,
which
great.
is good. You know, keep that cash flow going.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it's kind of hunky dory, pretty much the same.
I hope you find a tenant as good as ours. We got a winner right now.
Nice. Nice.
He's taking us to the airport and picking us up.
Oh, real nice.
He does commercial flooring,
Okay.
so he has offered to do an epoxy finish on this for free.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and that will smooth it out and supposedly last between 10 and 15 years,
That's awesome.
probably as long as I'll need.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, so he's a great guy. We're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Well, have a good couple of weeks.
You too, David.
I will.
Say hi to Jane.
I will. I will.
Get you in a little bit.
Your family doing okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Dad just had a hernia repair finally.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we got him to get health insurance finally, so putting it to work.
Good.
So he had that this week, last week.
Yeah.
It was this. I think it was Monday.
Oh.
This week. So we got that done. Mom's doing good. You know, Aaron's healing up from his shoulder, and they're doing their master bathroom now, renovating that. So we're staying busy.
Yeah.
No idea about Andrew. I never hear from those folks.
I probably knew from them more than you do.
They're just not the type to reach out. That's all right.
They're it's pretty private.
Yeah, they're kind of in their world doing their thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they got a lot going on.
They do. They do, and they're funny folks. They got a ladder in mine that I need to hang some blinds because I got some transom windows way up high, like in a cathedral ceiling, that let tons of light in, like 5 a.m. in the morning into my bedroom. I was like, I gotta get a blind on that thing.
Yeah.
So I sent him a text saying, hey, can I come bring my ladder? Well, today's like Astara, and Kai doesn't really like people coming around that during the holidays. I was like, I don't know what that is, but okay. Roger.
Another day.
Another time. All right, dude. So, well, I want to keep you, David.
All
Good
right.
luck with the computer.
Thanks.
Yep.
Take care.
Yeah, me too.